Back here on Boston's Enter the Chat.
Cool down here.
We needed a little Stefon Diggs breather there on that one.
I need a drink.
Well, breaking news hits, guys. We got to get an expert on the line.
Yep.
He's of the Boston Herald. He is Doug Kyed, and he's joining us on Nesson's Boston Has Entered the Chat. Doug, what happened? Did you have to?
What happened?
Hey, Doug, what happened?
What
Doug?
happened?
Patriots informed Stefon Diggs that he'll be released at the start of the league year. This doesn't come as a major surprise. Coming out of the combine, I thought it was kind of 50-50 whether he would be on the team next year or not. But this clears a lot of salary cap space, which is big for the team. They didn't have a ton going in the offseason. It also frees up a major need for a number one wide receiver. So I'm sure we'll get to that. But just first things first, not entirely shocked by the move. Diggs gave them a lot last season, but there was also some baggage that came along with it. And all of that, combined with his age, coming off the ACL still, probably not worthy of 26, 27, whatever it is, $1 million next year.
So while the news itself maybe not so shocking, before you came on, we were talking and you said that you were surprised it was the timing of it right now, that it happened today. And it comes on the heels of him scrubbing his Instagram, unfollowing the Patriots. It kind of felt like something was going on, but you were surprised that it happened today. Yeah,
I wasn't expecting it to happen today. I figured that it might come next week when they were up against that deadline because they had to give him $6 million guaranteed as of March 13th. So I was kind of scrambling when the news came. I was just getting ready to pick up my daughter from the bus, had to call an audible, had my mom do that instead. So that's the personal life of an NFL reporter.
Shout out, Mom.
But it is funny, the whole scrubbing of the Instagram thing, because I feel like that usually leads to nothing. Like usually when you see a guy do that, you're like waiting for news like this and then it doesn't come. So that's what I was thinking at first when he did scrub the Instagram and unfollowed the Patriots and everything. Was like, all right, I mean, this happens a ton, but nothing ever usually comes of it. So maybe we should take that more seriously moving forward here, since something did come of it this time.
Well, that's what I was going to follow up with, is when he did that, your first thought was not something connected to this. It was just, that he unfollowed the Patriots for no reason, perhaps?
I mean, you never know with the unfollowing the Patriots. Like sometimes these guys are never following in the first place. Like it's kind of hard to tell what's real and what's not about all of that. But he handles his social media in such a unique way. He's got like different social media accounts. I think he was like debuting a new show after he scrubbed the account. So for me, it was like, I don't know, maybe he's pouring all the resources into the shoe that he was announcing. And scrubbing the account for that reason. So, no, usually when guys do that, I don't take it very seriously. But like I said, I mean, egg on my face. I probably should have in this case.
Doug, always good to see you. I have a two-parter for you. Number one, you say you were 50-50 coming out of the combine that he would be here. I'm surprised by that. One reason I am is because I didn't understand why they signed him to begin with to wide receiver number one money. Then the guy shows up, and he is productive, and now you're getting rid of him? I'm confused there. So I wonder why you were 50-50. And then two, do you think the legalities of his situation have anything to do with this?
Yeah, I was 50-50 just based on some of the messaging that came out of the combine, both on and off the record, because me and my colleague Andrew Callahan are talking to people all across the league, across the team during the week of the combine, and there was certainly no guarantees that Diggs was still going to be on the roster this season, but there were some people within the organization that we spoke to who thought that the contract that he signed was pretty fair. But they were also saying that, you're not sure if he's still a number one wide receiver. He's a declining player. I mean, even look at last year, he had 1,000 yards, but he also had a ton of games with under 50 yards. So he wasn't the type of player anymore that you could rely on to get that 100 yards or to lead your team in targets. And if you're paying him pseudo number one wide receiver money to do that, and if you feel like you can upgrade at that position and maybe get a better player, that's why it was 50-50. And the legal situation, Mike Vrabel really tried to separate that during the combine when we were speaking to him, but it's hard to separate it. And it's got to play a role a little bit, because that, whether you like it or not, was a distraction late in the season, because he had to be asked about it. His teammates had to be asked about it. Mike Vrabel had to be asked about it. The hearing's coming up on April 1st. I don't know what's going to come of that. I don't know what this, obviously, I don't know the entire situation, but with that lingering after this deadline of March 13th, where you have to guarantee him $6 million or not, the timing is just tricky on that. So I don't think that that was the deciding factor by any means, but I think that it does play into it.
Doug, did they make this move with something else already done, like an A.J. Brown trade? And just to piggyback on that, we've covered the team for years, right? Like in the past, sometimes they make these moves and don't replace the position and allocate that money elsewhere. Do you think they're going to prioritize another big-time receiver here?
Yeah, I don't know for sure right now whether or not they're absolutely going to do that, but I've got a pretty high degree of confidence that they will, just because from people that we talked to at the Combine, they know that their number one need this offseason is offensive firepower. So you remove Stefon Diggs from the equation. He's the number one wide receiver. So at this point, you've only made that worse right now. Yeah. And there are multiple options out there. A.J. Brown is the one that we talk about the most, and it all depends on whether the Eagles lower their asking price for him in a trade, because you don't want to give up the house for A.J. Brown if you feel like he's not worthy of that. But DJ Moore is a name that came across in the last few days. Not as good of a wide receiver as A.J. Brown, but potentially better than Stefon Diggs just because he's a younger player. And Alec Pierce is the big one within the last few days, because the Colts elected to franchise tag Daniel Jones over Alec Pierce. So that at least makes it more likely that Alec Pierce will enter free agency. Not the biggest name, but had 1,000 yards last year, averaged over 20 yards per catch, one of the best deep ball receivers in the NFL, and you've got one of the best deep ball quarterbacks in the NFL already in Drake May. So if the Patriots are willing to pay up for him, I don't love the comparison, but it's somewhat similar to Milton Williams last year, where he's 25 years old. Milton Williams was 25 years old last year. And it feels like he's still potentially an ascending player in the league. And those are the guys that you want to pay in free agency. You don't want to pay the guys who their best football is behind them. It still feels like Pierce's best football might be in front of him here, in the same way that it was for Milton Williams.
Just going back to the way Stefon Diggs kind of has reacted to this on his social media, or maybe hinted at it, he took some drastic measures in unfollowing the team, in scrubbing all of it. Do you think that there is any kind of bad terms that he is on with the, I know he said like a goodbye to the Patriots with a red heart emoji, which is important there because there maybe is some love there, but maybe not the organization, maybe the players, maybe who he's speaking to isn't the actual people who cut him themselves. Are they on bad terms, do you think, at all?
Could he come back, Doug?
Could he come back? Don't think the door is open for him to come back after he says goodbye.
It's a good question. I wouldn't expect him back, just because usually, and maybe if he tests the market out there and there's nothing really for him, then maybe you bring him back on a lesser contract. But I don't know. It's hard to tell with Diggs whether there would be bad blood or not. Obviously, you don't feel great after you're getting cut by a team. But when he signed this contract last year, he knew, the Patriots knew, his agents knew, I knew that this was really only guaranteed for one season. So based on the terms of the deal, I feel like he can't have that much bad blood towards the team, because what he essentially signed was like a 1-year, $25 million deal last year with a couple of years tacked on in case last year went really, really well. So I don't know. It's tough to say, but I don't think there should be bad blood based on the way everything went down.
Kyle Williams, Efton Chisholm, or again, we've seen this before, Doug. We've seen it before. They've let guys go and they just believe in their system. Or do they look at the draft? Any chance?
Could look at the draft. I feel like this is a team with the leadership that they have right now, in the place that they are, having just come off a Super Bowl, that I really do. I feel like they're going to add a player to replace Diggs, like a veteran player. And it's tough to say that because there's extenuating circumstances in play. Maybe the Eagles get a better offer from somewhere else. Maybe DJ Moore goes for more than they expect. Maybe Alec Pierce goes for like $40 million a year, whatever it is. So like, you can't guarantee they're going to do it, but it really feels like that's probably coming based on all of the salary cap space that they have right now. I would not personally try to replace Diggs through the draft just because of how things have gone recently in the draft for the Patriots with N'Keal Harry and Jalen Polk and Kyle Williams and Javon Baker. There's just no guarantee that if they try to add a guy in the first or second round, that he's going to come in as the number 1 wide receiver right away.
Right.
That's the best path to a number 1 wide receiver, but I just don't really trust the system in place, especially actually with Josh McDaniels back as offensive coordinator. Great offensive coordinator, not the best guy for a young wide receiver. So I would expect them, and this is with no guarantee whatsoever, to at least try very hard to replace Diggs with a veteran wide receiver. I cannot see them going into next year just being like, all right, we've got Kayshon Boutte and Kyle Williams and Matt Collins. We're fine.
Doug, thanks, man. I know this is breaking news. We love it, man. Always available when we need you. Appreciate you, man. Boston Herald's Doug Kyed.
Absolutely. Anytime, guys.
You got it.
Thank you, Doug.
Joe, you just have to heal. You have to heal.
I got to heal.
This is trauma.
We already prayed. Casey's going to help us
You got
pray,
to
too.
heal, man.
Casey, God bless you.
Jen McCaffrey of The Athletic. We'll talk a little Sox coming up next on Boston's Center of the Chat.